July 5th, 2026, and Barcelona have completed two more signings. I'm going to tell you who they are. Also, Barcelona are currently working on another signing, someone that played in this World Cup. And finally, Mikel Oyarzabal has broken his silence in regards to his future. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Boo, and welcome to another short live. Now, I've been doing a lot of these short lives instead of actual videos, but blame it on the World Cup. The World Cup has been keeping me busy watching all these matches, so I haven't had time to film, edit, and post. Instead, I'm doing these short lives. And of course, tomorrow is podcast day. So tomorrow we'll be reading the comments live and reacting to them. So make sure you join tomorrow for the podcast. Now, speaking of the World Cup, ladies and gentlemen, today we saw Brazil get eliminated at the hands of Norway 2-0. Both goals by Haaland. And now we have Haaland, Mbappe, and Lionel Messi all tied with 7 goals each. Ladies and gentlemen, Messi at 39 years old competing with two guys who are in their prime. You know, everybody was talking about how, now that Messi and Penaldo are older, they're going to have to step off the stage and make room for, the new heirs of this competition, Mbappe and Haaland. And lo and behold, Messi's still there competing with them at 39 years old. It's absolutely insane what Messi is doing. But Brazil eliminated at the hands of Norway. I wish I could say I was surprised. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, I've been saying it this entire World Cup since the first day. This Brazil doesn't inspire. It just doesn't inspire any confidence. It's like watching Real Madrid play. It's a collection of football stars who don't do anything besides be football stars. It's like a collection of 11 players who really don't do anything on the field, don't know how to play together, no ideas on how to attack, no ideas on how to create chances, no ideas on anything. And of course, it's Ancelotti's team. So, what else do you expect? Did you guys really expect Brazil playing a beautiful football? I didn't expect it. I didn't see it. So today, I was honestly not that surprised that they're out. And that's with the fact that they faced off against Norway, which, let's be real, Norway is also not that impressive either. I mean, yes, they have Haaland. Yes, they have Sorloth. Yes, they have Odegaard. But if Odegaard is not having a good match, they don't really have anyone creative to get the ball to the front line. And without Odegaard, pretty much Haaland is just sitting there and doing nothing, right? In fact, we saw it today for most of the match, right? So can you imagine if Brazil had faced off against, I don't know, France or Spain or someone stronger? This might have been the best thing that could have happened to Brazil, is to be knocked out at the hands of Norway, because it could have been much, much worse. Remember that 2014 loss at the hands of Germany, 7-1? It could have been something like that. So if anything, this is a good result for Brazil, because like I said, this Brazil doesn't inspire any kind of confidence at all. I don't know whose bright idea was to hire Ancelotti. Ancelotti's, the kind of coach that just lets his players play. And if you already have a Brazil that's a collection of stars and no gameplay or no collective play, why would you bring someone like Ancelotti, who even knows less about getting his players to play together? But anyways, I don't know why people, and I'm going to say something that's very mean, I don't know why Brazilians keep doing this to themselves. They keep getting their hopes up every World Cup, thinking that Brazil is going to go all the way, when Brazil has been mediocre since 2006. I mean, it's been 20 years since Brazil has been good. In every World Cup, they get their hopes up, thinking that, Brazil's going to make it all the way. And then when it doesn't happen, because of course it doesn't happen, they've had a mediocre team since 2006, they cry and their hearts are broken. It's like me crying about the U.S. not winning the World Cup every 4 years. Why would I expect that? Same thing with Brazil. Brazilians, why do you expect your team to make it all the way to the final? Why? Why do you do that to yourself? Brazil hasn't been good since they won the World Cup back in 2002. But anyways, Brazil is out. We do have an incredible match coming up in a few minutes, 15 minutes, England versus Mexico. I'm very excited about that. I hope it's a much better matchup than the Brazil-Norway, because I got to be honest, that match was a snooze fest. But anyways, enough about the World Cup. Let's talk about Barcelona, because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have made 2 more signings. The first one is part of the overhaul that Barcelona are currently doing with Barca Athletic, and his name is Javi Castro. Now, I told you yesterday about how Barcelona have signed Kerr. He is a center forward that they signed from L'Hospitalet for free. And well, now they have signed Javi Castro, the 19-year-old center back who Barcelona have signed from Real Mallorca until 2028. So Javi Castro signing for 2 years. He is a pretty big defender. I think he's 190 centimeters. I think that's, what is it, 6'4" or something like that. A very solid defender who is known for his very good positioning. And as I said a few moments ago, this is part of Barcelona's overhaul of Barca Athletic. As you know, Barca Athletic got relegated from 3rd to 4th division 2 seasons ago, or 2 summers ago, I should say. This last season, Barcelona brought in Giuliano Belletti, who was Juvenil A's coach. You know, Giuliano Belletti won the treble with the Juvenil A. So he got promoted to Barca Athletic with the hopes that he would take Barca Athletic from 4th to 3rd division again. Barcelona failed at doing that last season. So now Barcelona are completely overhauling Barca Athletic. We've talked about the several exits that have happened at Barca Athletic. Now we're talking about signings. So expect a lot more news about Barca Athletic because Barcelona are planning to completely overhaul that team because the goal is to make it to the to get promoted once again back to 3rd division because it really makes a difference. It makes a difference for the players' development, right? You want your youngsters playing in 3rd division as opposed to 4th, ideally 2nd. Why not? But one step at a time. Also, it's important for signing players. It's a lot easier to convince a player to sign for your reserve team that plays in 3rd division as opposed to 4th. And it's also important for keeping players, right? We've seen a lot of players like Dani Rodriguez, for example, leave because they've outgrown 4th division, right? So this is going to be a very important goal for Barcelona. I will be keeping tabs of Barca Athletic this whole season. So you'll be hearing a lot more news about Barca Athletic because this needs to happen. Barca Athletic need to get back into 3rd division. So I'll be, keeping track of this very important club goal that Barcelona hope to achieve during the 2026-2027 season. And now let's talk about the second signing that Barcelona have also completed. This one I told you about several months ago, but in case you don't remember, I told you several months ago how Barcelona had reached an agreement to sign one of the most sought-after midfielders in all of Spain. The agreement was in place. That agreement was reached several months ago, but now it is official. Barcelona have signed Víctor Barbani. As you can see in the picture, there is Víctor Barbani signing his contract to join Barcelona. This one, of course, is we're talking about a future bet. But if you don't know who Víctor Barbani is, he's a 15-year-old midfielder who was playing at Leganés last season. He's also a Spain international with Spain's under-15 squad. He came up through the Atletico Madrid Academy before joining Leganés. And last season, he helped Leganés win the Cadet League. And also, he helped them win the under-16 championship. So very promising midfielder. All of Spain were fighting over him. And while Barcelona have won that race and they have secured the signing of one of the most promising midfielders in all of Spain, Víctor Barbani, who will be joining the Cadete A. Right? It goes first team, Barca Athletic, Juvenil A, Juvenil B, Cadete A, Cadete B. So he's going to be at Cadete A with maybe he could even feature for the Juvenil B or Juvenil A during this upcoming season. But it's reported that Barcelona will be keeping very close eye on this youngster because, again, very promising midfielder in Spain. Now, on to the next bit of news because Barcelona are working on another signing. And this one I told you about several weeks ago, but it's no other than Lucas Harrington, the 18-year-old Australian center back who currently plays for the Colorado Rapids here in the MLS. Barcelona have been tracking Lucas Harrington for quite some time. In fact, back in April, and I talked about this before on the channel, back in April, representatives from Barcelona flew all the way to the U.S. to Colorado, where they met with representatives from Colorado Rapids, where Barcelona even made an offer for Lucas Harrington. But Colorado Rapids, knowing that the World Cup was right around the corner and that, the World Cup could drive the value of Lucas Harrington up, they said, nope, sorry, Barca, but we're not interested in selling him right now. Now, despite the Colorado Rapids rejecting Barcelona's offer, it's reported that Barcelona are still very interested in the player. They continue tracking him even after Colorado Rapids rejected Barca's offer. He has done really well in the World Cup. In fact, he gained the starting spot after his incredible performance against Paraguay in a group stage. He started against Egypt in the round of 32. He also did really well defensively. And, you know, he was one of those players that missed his penalty shot, which I did not understand why the coach chose him. He's 18 years old. He's a kid. It's his first time in the World Cup. And he got chosen to take the penalty shot. He was one of the people who missed. I think he hit the bar, if I remember correctly. But, you know, that's not to say that he's a bad player. I mean, he's a center back, 18 years old, first time in the World Cup. Why would you expect him to take a penalty shot? I don't know. Bad call by the coach. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But Lucas Harrington, again, if you don't know who he is, 18 years old, is center back. He's a pretty tall, very physical and solid defender who's good and strong in the air, but who can also build play from the back and also can drive the ball forward. So kind of like the profile of center backs that Barcelona looks for, you know, tall, strong, physical, very good defensively, but can also push forward with the ball. So kind of like a Ronald Araujo, but that can actually, you know, do something with the ball at his feet as opposed to Ronald Araujo, who is very strong defensively, but with the ball at his feet that's a different kind of story. Now, Barcelona will continue to work on signing Lucas Harrington during this summer transfer market. Deco's a big fan of the Australian kid. We'll see if Barcelona are successful, but if they are, this could be another signing that Barcelona complete during this summer. All right, now let's end today's short live before we all leave to go watch the Mexico versus England match. Again, this match was postponed due to rain, I think, or thunderstorms. But very excited for that match. But let's talk about Mikel Oyarzabal, Spain's striker, who, of course, a lot of people have linked to Barcelona. I think this has been mostly the fans linking him to Barcelona as opposed to actual real interest by Barcelona. And, of course, that's because Mikel Oyarzabal has been doing wonderful with the Spanish national team. Has scored very important goals for him. And given that Barcelona are in the market searching for a center forward, a lot of people have been saying, you know, Barcelona should sign Oyarzabal. Barcelona should sign Oyarzabal. Of course, Oyarzabal was asked about the possibility of him joining Barcelona or any other clubs. And he said at the beginning of the World Cup that he was very, very happy at Real Sociedad, that he had no interest of leaving. And well, now Mikel Oyarzabal has been asked once again about his future. And this is what the Spanish, or I should say Basque striker had to say. I've already said that I'm very happy at Real Sociedad. For me, it's been a home, a place where they've supported me even in the most difficult times when I was at my worst. Thanks to Real Sociedad, I'm here. That's about it. So there you have it, folks. As straight as it could be. Oyarzabal not looking to leave Real Sociedad. He's happy there. That's his home. His family's there. His wife's family's there. And when I say there, I mean in Basque Country. And so he's not looking to leave. So this is why Oyarzabal is not really someone that's been on Barcelona's list, because Barcelona are very aware that Oyarzabal not looking to leave. Just like when they called for Harry Kane, and Kane said, I want to stay at Bayern. And they said, okay, then that's it. We got to move on, right? You cannot force players to play for you. Can go and kidnap Oyarzabal, put a bag on his face, and tie him up and bring him to Barca. Be like, all right, you're now our striker, right? So, anyways, that's one less player that I know a lot of you have asked for that will not be joining because, well, he is not interested in leaving. Anyways, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Again, tomorrow, Monday, is podcast day. So tomorrow we'll be reading your comments and reacting to them live. Right now, I'm just going to wrap this up so we could all go watch England versus Mexico. I should say Mexico versus England, since Mexico's playing at home. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Viscarsa.